You sit down at a small-town diner with a mug of black coffee, just trying to have a quiet minute. Then a familiar face slides into your booth and starts poking you with personal questions. When you're older, folks act like your life is a public bulletin board, like they've got a right to know your business. The thing is, those questions can cut, and you don't owe anybody an answer just because they asked. Part 1. Why people ask weird questions as you get older. I'll tell you where it starts. It starts at a small-town diner. Early morning, black coffee in a thick mug. You're just trying to sit quiet, maybe look out the window, maybe think about nothing for once. Then a familiar face slides into the booth like they own the place, smiles big, and the questions start. Not how you doing, but the kind that pokes at you. It feels strange, because when you were younger, folks didn't dig like that. They talked about weather, work, ball games, the price of gas, stuff that didn't hit your ribs. But once you get older, people act like your life is a public bulletin board. They ask like they got a right to know, and they don't even hear how sharp their words are. Later, you go home. You sit at your quiet kitchen table, and it's just you and the sound of the fridge. You look at the mail, junk flyers, coupons, and those important-looking envelopes with bold print. You think about your bills, your plans, your next appointment, and you feel that tired, kind of careful. That's when you realize peace is not loud, and most people don't respect quiet. And your phone, don't get me started on the phone. It buzzes with random calls, numbers you don't know, messages that sound urgent, like the world will end if you don't pick up. Some of it is junk, some of it is someone fishing, some of it is just noise. You didn't ask for any of it, but it keeps coming like flies to a pie. So listen, people ask weird personal questions for 3 big reasons, and none of them are about your comfort. First reason, they want to compare. They want to see if you are doing better or worse, like life is a contest and you're on a scoreboard. They'll ask about your house, your car, your kids, your health, all so they can feel tall or feel safe. Second reason, they want gossip. They want a little story to carry around, something to whisper at church, or at the barber shop, or in the Walmart aisle while they pretend they're just checking on you. They'll say, "I'm just worried," but their eyes are already looking for a detail they can repeat. If you hand them a juicy piece, it will not stay with them. It will walk right out the door. Third reason, and this is the one that hurts the most, they want something. Maybe money, maybe a favor, maybe a ride, maybe your time, maybe your energy. They start with a soft question, like it's harmless. Then it turns into a need, and then it turns into pressure. It's not always evil, but it is real. You'll see it at the gas station, too. You're pumping gas, minding your business, and somebody says, "How you holding up these days?" Then it slides into, "Must be nice to be retired." And then, "So what do you get each month?" They say it like they're asking about the weather, but it's not the weather. It's your life. And you don't owe them your life. Same thing happens at Walmart. You bump into someone by the canned soup. They ask about your knee, your blood pressure, your doctor, like your body is a group project. Or they ask, "You still working?" And if you say no, they start counting your pockets in their head. Folks don't think they're being rude, but they are. Now let me say this clean. It is okay to not answer. You are not being mean. You are being careful. You don't have to hand out your private business like free samples. You can smile, you can be polite, and you can still keep the door closed. If you need a picture in your head, think about your porch or your front steps. You don't leave your front door wide open all day, right? You don't let strangers walk in and look through your drawers. Your life is the same way. You get to decide who comes in and how far they go. And yes, there's that Social Security check, that little piece of paper or deposit that keeps a lot of folks afloat. It's not a trophy. It's not a secret weapon. It's just part of how you get by. That is exactly why you protect it, because once people think you have something, they start aiming at it. In the next part, we're going to talk straight about money questions and why you should keep those answers to yourself. Part 2. Don't tell anyone your retirement money. Listen, I know that check feels personal because it is. That Social Security check, that pension, that little bit you scrape together. It keeps the lights on. It keeps food in the fridge. It's not a brag. It's not a flex. It's survival. And that is why you do not talk numbers with people who don't pay your bills. I'm sitting at my kitchen table most mornings, looking at bills, a prescription receipt, and a cheap pen that barely works. I'm doing the math slow because mistakes cost you. 1 month the pharmacy cost jumps, the next month the electric bill does. You learn quick. Your money is not a story for the neighborhood. It's a plan you protect. The mailbox doesn't help. Does it? You open it, and it's junk mail, shiny flyers, and then one important-looking envelope that makes your stomach drop. Half the time it's nothing. The other half, it's something you have to deal with right now. That is real life. So when someone asks, "How much do you get?" they are not asking a cute question. They're asking about your safety. Here's the hard truth. People ask about your retirement money for 3 reasons. First, they want to borrow. Second, they want to judge you. Third, scammers want to find you, and they love people who talk too much. Let's talk about borrowing first. It starts soft. How you doing these days, like your neighbor on the porch or front steps, leaning on the rail, smiling? Then it turns into, must be nice to be retired. And before you know it, you hear. So what do you get each month? That question is a toe in the door. And the next step is, can you help me out? Just this once. And you know what happens after just this once. It turns into twice. Then it turns into you being the bank. They may be family. They may be friends. They may even be good people who are stressed out. But if you say yes when you can't afford it, you're the one eating cold leftovers at the end of the month, not them. Now the second reason, judgment. People want to put you on a scale, like you're a piece of fruit at the store. Too little money, they pity you. Too much money, they get jealous, and both are trouble. You stop being a person. You become a number in their head. You'll hear it at the gas station, too, while the pump is running. Somebody makes small talk, then they slide in. How's retirement treating you? And they watch your face. If you say you're fine, they think you're hiding something. If you say it's tight, they think you're weak. Either way, you lose, so you don't play. Then there's the third reason, scammers. Your phone rings from an unknown number, and you let it go. That is not you being rude. That is you being smart. If it's real, they can leave a message, and if they don't, it wasn't worth your time. Scammers love urgency. That's their favorite tool. They want you scared. They want you rushed. They want you to act fast without thinking. If anyone calls you and makes it sound like you have to move money right now, you stop, you breathe, you hang up, and you talk to someone you trust. Your money should never move because a stranger made your heart race. And it's not just strangers. Sometimes it's regular people fishing. You go to the bank, you're in line, and somebody behind you cracks a joke. Must be nice to have that retirement money coming in. Or you're at Walmart, and an old buddy sees you and says, "So you doing okay? You got enough saved?" Folks toss these questions out like they're talking about the weather. But money is not weather. So what do you say when someone asks the big ones, "How much do you get? Is your house paid off?" You got a nice nest egg, you keep it short and boring, because boring is safe. You can say, "I'm doing all right. I don't talk numbers," and then you smile and ask them about their garden, their dog, their grandkids, anything else. If they push, you get firmer, but still calm. "I keep my money private." That's a full sentence. Or, "I've got it handled," and you don't add more. The more you explain, the more they dig, so you don't give them dirt to dig in. And if they still won't stop, you end it with your feet. You look at your watch. You say, "I gotta run," and you walk away. You go get your cart. You go check the mail. You go back inside. You do not stand there and let someone pick at your life. Peace is worth a little awkward. Here's another reason to keep it private. Health costs are real, and they hit hard. Medicare helps. Sure, but it doesn't make everything free, and the pharmacy still gets your money. One new medicine, one extra test, one surprise copay, and your whole month changes. That is why your retirement money is not a public topic, because you're not just paying for fun, you're paying to stay standing. So listen, don't feel guilty about this. You worked for what you have, and you don't owe anyone the details. You can be kind without being open like a broken screen door. Keep your numbers to yourself, keep your plan to yourself, and keep your peace. And now that we've talked money, we need to talk about the other thing people love to pry into, your health. Because they'll ask about your retirement check, and right after that, they'll ask what the doctor said, and that's another door you don't have to open. Part 3. Your health isn't a public topic. I'll paint you a scene you know too well. You're standing at the CVS or Walgreens pharmacy counter, holding that small white prescription bag. You hear the clerk call out a name, loud enough for half the store to hear, and you keep your head down like you're trying to be invisible. You're not doing anything wrong. You just don't want your business becoming somebody else's talk. Then you turn around, and there's always somebody. Maybe a neighbor, maybe a church friend, maybe just a chatty stranger. And they look at the bag and go, "So what are you taking?" Like they're asking what kind of gum you bought. Or they say, "What did the doctor say?" And you can feel that little pinch in your chest because you didn't come here for a public interview. It wears you down because health is already heavy. You sit in a waiting room with plastic chairs, a clipboard on your lap, and you're trying to remember dates and doses. The person at the desk is talking copay. You're digging in your wallet for that Medicare card, and you're thinking, "Please let this be simple today." That's the truth of it. You're trying to get through the day, not explain your body to everybody. And when you get home, it's right there on the kitchen counter. Pill bottles, a blood pressure cuff, maybe a simple thermometer. The stuff that reminds you you're not 20 anymore. You don't need someone else's opinion on top of it. You don't need their guesses. You don't need their little stories about "my cousin had that," and because it makes your mind run in circles. Now listen, people ask health questions for a few reasons, and not all of them are kind. Some people truly care. You can feel it. They look you in the eye. They speak soft. They ask once, and if you don't want to talk, they back off. They might say, "I'm here if you need anything," and then they actually mean it. They don't press. They don't pry. But other people are just nosy, or they want gossip, or they want to be the one with the latest update. They ask 3 questions in a row. They lean in. Their voice drops like they're already telling someone else. That kind of care is not care. It's curiosity, and it costs you peace. You'll get it in a Walmart aisle. 2. You're moving slow. Maybe your knee is acting up. Maybe you're just tired, and someone stares a little too long and says, "You okay?" Sometimes it's nice, sure, but sometimes it's a hook. If you say, "Not really," they're ready to open the whole file. What's wrong? What's the test? What's the medicine? Is it serious? Here's the thing, you do not owe anyone your medical file. You can love people and still keep things private. Those two can live in the same house. Privacy is not lying. Privacy is choosing what stays in your circle. So what do you say when someone asks, "What are you taking?" You keep it short. You keep it plain. Just some routine stuff, and then you change the subject. How's your day going? If they ask, "What did the doctor say?" you can say, "We're handling it," and that's it. No details. If they push and push, you can get a little firmer without getting ugly. "I don't like to talk health stuff," said with a calm face, works better than a long explanation. Or, "I'm following the doctor's plan," and then you stop talking, because silence is a boundary too. And if you're with someone who truly loves you, you'll know it, because they'll respect the boundary. They won't make you feel guilty. They won't say, "Why won't you tell me?" They'll just stay close. And that's all you need. Now I want to say something for the folks sitting on the edge of the bed at night, moving slow, feeling their bones talk back. You get to choose what you share, and you get to choose when. Some days you don't have the strength to explain, and that does not make you cold. It makes you human. When you're ready, you can tell the right person, the one who won't spread it. But you don't have to hand it out to everyone who asks, because a lot of those people are not going to carry it with care. They're going to carry it like a shopping bag, swinging it around. So protect yourself, Protect your peace. Keep your health talk in a small circle. You've got enough on your plate. Co-pays, appointments, reminder papers stacked at home, and the daily work of staying steady. Save your energy for healing, not for explaining. And after health, you already know what comes next. Family. Folks love to dig into your kids, your grandkids, your marriage history, like they're reading a magazine. In the next part, we're going to talk about that, and how to stop people from grading your life through your children. Part 4. Don't let anyone grade your kids. Thanksgiving is where it hits the hardest. You know that. You're at a family house, the table is crowded, folks are talking over each other, paper plates stacked up, and somebody is passing the gravy like it's a relay race. You're just trying to eat, smile, and be thankful you made it another year. Then somebody leans in and asks about your kid, like they're checking a price tag. They don't say it straight, not at first. They start sweet. So how's your son doing now? And they keep smiling. But you can feel the little hook in it, because they're not asking about his heart. They're asking about his job, his money, his status. And if your answer doesn't fit their idea of success, they act like you need to explain yourself. Meanwhile, the living room is loud. Football on TV in the background, people yelling at the screen, and still they're yelling questions at you too. Is your daughter still single? Did your boy ever buy a house? When you gonna be a grandpa? When you gonna be a grandma? They say it like it's harmless fun, but it can put a lump in your throat real fast. Because it's not just a question, it's a judgment dressed up in a smile. Here's the truth. Your kids are not a report card on you. You did your best with what you had, in the time you had, and life still goes its own way. Kids grow up. They make choices. They get hit by things you never saw coming. And even when they're doing fine, it's still not anyone's business to grade them out loud. A lot of us older folks carry old guilt around like it's a wallet we can't put down. We think, if my kid struggles, it must be my fault. Or if my kid didn't turn out how people expected, I failed. Listen, that weight will bend your back worse than any heavy box. You don't need to drag it into every holiday meal. You see that picture of your kids on the fridge? You know the one. You walk by, you stop for a second, and you stare at it like you're checking the past for mistakes. You remember when they were small, when all they needed was a sandwich, a ride, and a hug. Now they're grown, and the world is bigger, colder, and louder than we want it to be. Sometimes your kid lives out of state, and the only way you really know them now is that call. They ring you from another time zone. You hear their voice, and you can tell if they're tired, even when they say they're fine. You don't tell the whole family what you hear in that voice, because it's not your story to sell. Some things are private, even when you love the people asking. Then you get that family group text buzzing all weekend. Ding, 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 like a little alarm in your pocket. Somebody posts a picture, somebody posts a joke, then somebody slips in a comment. So when is he going to settle down? And now it's a whole thread, like your kid is a topic, not a person. You feel the pressure to answer, to defend, to explain, and it's exhausting. This same thing happens at church potlucks and community halls, too. You're standing by the folding tables, paper cups in your hand, and someone asks, "So what's your son doing now?" And they say it loud like it's a normal question. Half the room doesn't need to hear it, but now they do. If you answer with details, it spreads. And next thing you know, everybody thinks they know your kid's life. So what do? How do you handle it without starting a fight? You keep it short, you keep it kind, and you close the door. You can say, "He's doing okay, and I'm proud of him." And then you ask, "How have you been?" If they push for job titles and paychecks, you say, "I don't share his business, that's his life." When they hit you with the grandkids question, you don't have to get sharp, but you can get firm. You can smile and say, "We'll see what happens. I'm not in charge of that." And then you move on. Or you say, "I just want them healthy and safe, because that's the truth anyway." People who respect you will take the hint, and people who don't, well, they were never going to be satisfied. If someone is really digging, you can use a simple line that ends it. "I keep family stuff private. That's it. No speech, no debate." Then you change the subject fast. You want more gravy, or how about that game on TV? It sounds small, but it works because you're steering the car away from the ditch. And if the room still feels tight, you step out for a second. You go to the front porch. You stand there. You breathe. You let the noise stay inside. You remind yourself, I don't have to win this talk. I just have to keep my peace. That porch moment, that little pause, can save the rest of your day. Let me say one more thing. Some folks ask those questions because they're scared about their own kids. They're looking for proof that everything turns out fine, and they use your answers like comfort food. But you don't have to feed that fear with your family's private life. You can be polite and still keep your boundaries. All right, we've talked money, we've talked health, and we've talked family, and you can see the pattern. People like to poke, and they like to pull you into stuff that makes you feel small. Next, we're going to talk about politics, because that's another place folks try to start fights, and it can steal your sleep if you let it. Part 5, Politics, Steals Your Sleep. I've watched a lot of things in this life, and I'll tell you this. Politics is one of the fastest ways to lose your peace. It sneaks in like background noise, then it turns into a fight you didn't ask for. You think you're just having a normal talk, then your chest gets tight, and your whole night is gone. At our age, sleep is worth more than winning a loud conversation. It usually starts in the living room, evening news on TV, the volume too loud, like it's yelling at you. You're sitting in your recliner, throw blanket on your lap, just trying to rest your legs. Then you reach for the remote, because the noise feels like it's crawling into your head, and your phone lights up with messages, one after another, like people are trying to drag you into it from every direction. Then it shows up out in the world, where you least want it. You're in a grocery line, or at the gas station, and somebody turns small talk into a test. They say, so who do you support, like there's only one right answer, and they're waiting to judge you, or they say, don't you hate those people, and now you're supposed to agree, or you're the enemy. Listen, most of the time, they are not trying to understand you, they are trying to win. They want to score points, they want to feel right, they want to feel bigger than somebody else. They don't want a real talk, they want to fight with a smile on it, and if you step into that ring, you're the one who pays for it later, not them. You'll hear it from a neighbor too, right on the front porch or front steps. So what do you think about all this, they ask, like you're supposed to carry the whole country on your back. You can feel the trap, because the next question is always sharper than the first. And if you answer, even a little, it turns into an argument you didn't plan for. Family can be the worst, because you care about them, and you don't want to ruin the day. You're at a backyard BBQ, burgers on the grill, kids running around, somebody cracks a beer, and then one person decides to start a fight. They throw out a comment, loud enough for everyone to hear, and then they look around for who will bite. Next thing you know, two people are talking over each other, and the food is getting cold. And it's not just family. It's places you expect peace. In the church lobby or a community center hallway, people whisper about the country like it's a scary story. They lean in close, like they're sharing a secret, but it still stirs you up. You came there to breathe, to feel human, not to feel angry. Yet the talk follows you like smoke on your clothes. So what do? You do the same thing you do with any trap. You don't step in it. You keep your lines short, and you keep your tone calm. You can say, I don't talk politics. I'm trying to keep my peace. And then you smile and ask about something normal. Or you say, I'm not doing this today, and you let that be the end of it. Some folks will push, and they'll try to shame you. They'll say you're soft, or scared, or you don't care. And that's just pressure in a different shirt. You are allowed to care in private. You are allowed to vote in private. You are allowed to live in peace in public. You don't have to prove anything to anybody in a parking lot or a cookout. If they keep pushing, you step away. You go check the grill. You go refill your drink. You go to the bathroom. You go anywhere else. Now let's talk about the news and social media, because that stuff can chew you up. It's loud. It's nonstop. And it's built to keep you mad, because mad people keep watching. If you sit there all evening with the TV yelling and your phone buzzing, your body thinks you're in danger. Then you go to bed and you stare at the ceiling, because your mind won't shut off. I've had those nights, and I hate them. You lay there, blanket pulled up, house quiet, and your head is still arguing with somebody who's not even in the room. That is no way to live, not at our age. So you set limits. You turn the volume down. You turn the TV off. You put the phone on the counter, and you let the world spin without you for a while. Then you wake up, and you give yourself a better start. You make coffee, you stand in a quiet kitchen, and you decide. Today, I protect my peace. You can check the news once, short and simple, and then you're done. You're not running away. You're just choosing rest over rage. And here's the thing. Politics isn't the only thing that steals your sleep. Gossip does the same thing. It drags you into mess. It makes you pick sides. It makes your stomach feel tight for no good reason. In the next part, we're going to talk about gossip and how to keep it from living rent-free in your head. Part 6. Gossip, 5 minutes of talk, 5 days of stress. Let me tell you what gossip really is. It's cheap entertainment that costs you sleep. It looks small, like a little chat, like nothing. But it crawls into your head and won't leave. And now you're carrying somebody else's mess around like a heavy bag. At our age, we don't need more weight. You see it at church potluck or coffee hour, folding tables lined up, paper cups in everybody's hands. Somebody leans in close, voice low, like it's a secret, and they say, "Did you hear about?" Right there. That's the bait, because they're not handing you truth. They're handing you trouble. If you bite, you're in it. It happens at the community center, too, in that hallway with the bulletin board full of flyers and little tear-off phone numbers. Folks sitting in plastic chairs, waiting for bingo or a meeting. And somebody starts just talking. What do you think of her? Don't you agree he's awful? They don't want your thoughts. They want your name attached to their story. They want you to pick a side, and it's always the same pattern. One person talks, then another person adds a detail, then suddenly it's a whole movie. Nobody knows the full truth, but everybody feels sure, and that's what makes it dangerous. Gossip makes people feel like judges, and it makes friendships break over things that were never theirs to begin with. I've watched neighbors turn on each other over talk, and it's ugly, even when it's quiet. Two neighbors stand by the mailbox too long, near the front yard, and they start with a smile. Then they start naming names. Next week, one of them won't wave. The next month, somebody's mad at somebody, and nobody even remembers how it started. That's what gossip does. It rots the wood from the inside. You don't even need to be there anymore, because your phone will drag you in. Group texts buzzing, ding, 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 and somebody sends, "Did you hear?" like you're supposed to drop your life and read it. Then people start piling on with little comments, little jokes, little "I always knew it." And now you're sitting there, staring at your screen, feeling your stomach tighten, and you didn't even leave the house. It hits you in a small-town diner, too, before the food even hits the table. You're waiting on your eggs, and somebody says, "You know what I heard?" like it's the weather report. Then 3 heads lean in, and now you're part of a circle you didn't ask to join. You came for coffee, not for a courtroom, and it finds you at Walmart just when you think you're safe. You bump into somebody in the aisle, you say hello, and they start talking fast. I shouldn't say this, but that's another bait line, because if they shouldn't say it, they're about to say it anyway, and they want you to hold it with them. That's not friendship. That's dumping. So here's what you do. You keep your hands clean. When someone says, "Did you hear about?" you can say, "Nope, I haven't." And you leave it there. If they push, you say, "I try not to get into people's business," and you smile like it's no big deal. If they want you to agree that someone is awful, you say, "I don't know the whole story," because you don't. None of us do. You can also use kindness as a shield. You can say, "I hope they're okay," and then change the subject. "How's your back doing?" or "How's your family?" Kind words shut down mean talk faster than you'd think. And if the person keeps going, you give yourself an exit. "I'm going to grab some coffee," or "I need to make a call," and you walk away. Later that night, you'll thank yourself. You'll sit at your quiet kitchen table, house calm, and you won't feel that heavy feeling in your chest. Because when you listen to gossip, it doesn't just stay in your ears. It follows you home. It makes you replay it. It makes you worry. It makes you think about people you don't even like. Listen, you can be kind without being part of the mess. You can care about folks without chewing on their private life. Peace is not just what you say. It's what you refuse to carry. And here's the next truth. Gossip isn't the only thing that drains you. Favors do it too. Those quick little favors that turn into big demands, and suddenly your time and your body belong to somebody else. In the next part, we're going to talk about that and how to stop people from spending your energy for free. Part 7. Don't let people spend your energy for free. Listen, your time and your strength are not free. Not anymore. When you're young, you can bounce back. You can sleep it off. You can work sore and still laugh. When you're older, one quick favor can cost you a whole week, and the person who asked will be fine while you're the one limping around your own house. It always starts nice, right on the porch or the front steps. A neighbor catches you when you're taking out the trash, smiling like it's nothing. Hey, you got a minute, they say, and you already know it's not a minute. That's how they get you. They make it sound small. Next thing you know, you're in a garage, maybe empty, maybe cluttered, with old tools, holiday boxes, and a ladder leaning in the corner. They point at a couch or a heavy box, and they say, "Can you help me move this real quick?" You want to be helpful because you're a decent person, but your back does not care that you're decent. You lift the wrong way one time, and you feel that little twinge in your back, or that sore knee talks back. You try to act tough because that's what we were taught. But later that night, you're stiff, you're moving slow, and you're mad at yourself, and nobody else pays that price for you. Nobody. Then there's the text that shows up late in the day. Can you do me a quick favor? And it's always when you've already sat down, shoes off, dinner warming up. If you say yes, you're suddenly the on-call helper, like you don't have your own life. And if you say no, they act surprised, like your time belonged to them. A lot of folks our age have a calendar on the fridge, and it's not there for decoration. You've got doctor appointments marked, maybe a pharmacy pickup, maybe a follow-up visit, maybe a day you need to rest. You are not free all day. You're just not punching a clock anymore. That doesn't mean people get to spend your hours like loose change. And rides. Oh boy, rides can turn into a job. You drive someone to the doctor once, then to the pharmacy once, and then it starts to feel expected. They call you like you're a shuttle service, last minute, no plan, no respect for your time. You can be kind, but you can't become somebody's routine without choosing it. Babysitting is another one that sneaks up on you. Somebody asks, "Can you watch the grandkid for a little bit?" And a little bit turns into hours. You love that kid, sure you do, but your energy runs out faster than theirs. And when you're worn down, you're not good for anyone, not even the people you love most. Then there's the fixing stuff trap. You take one trip to Home Depot or Ace Hardware with somebody, and they look at you like you're the handyman forever. You know how to do this. Right, they say, and suddenly your weekend is a project. You're not a free service. You're a person who deserves rest. So here's the lesson. Saying no is not selfish. It's smart. You can say, "I can't lift heavy things," and you don't have to explain your spine. You can say, "I can help for 10 minutes," and then you stop at 10 minutes. You can say, "I'm not available today," and that's the end of it. If you feel guilty, remember this. A bad back day can turn into weeks of pain. A sore knee can keep you from walking, sleeping, even getting in and out of the car. The person who asked you for the favor is not going to sit up with you at night when you can't get comfortable. So you protect your body like it's the only one you've got, because it is. You can still be a good neighbor, a good friend, a good grandparent, without giving away your whole tank. Help in ways that don't break you. A phone call, a small errand when you choose it, a little advice, a ride when you plan for it. But don't let people hand you their problems and call it just a favor. Your peace, your schedule, and your health matter too. And this all ties back to one simple idea. You have to guard your life the same way you guard your house. You don't leave your front door open all day. You don't hand your keys to anybody who asks. Next, we're going to talk about protecting your peace every day, like locking that front door at night and choosing who gets access to you. Part 8. Protect your peace like you lock your front door. All right, we're at the end here, and I want you to hear me clear. Peace is not something you stumble into. It's something you protect on purpose. Same way you protect your home. You don't leave your front door open all night. You don't hand out keys to anyone who smiles at you. At night, I do the same thing every time. I lock the front door, I check the deadbolt, and I leave that porch light on. Not because I'm scared of everything, but because I'm not dumb. A locked door is not rude. It's normal, and your life needs that same kind of normal. Then I sit at the kitchen table. Quiet house, small stack of mail, a few bills, maybe a pharmacy receipt mixed in there. Sometimes there's Medicare paperwork, and it's not fun, but it's real. That's the stuff we deal with now, the kind of stuff that takes energy just to look at. So I'm not about to waste what little calm I have arguing with people or explaining myself to folks who don't care. You remember what we talked about. You don't owe people your money details. You don't owe them your health details. You don't owe them your family business. You don't owe them your opinions, your time, or your body. That's not being cold. That's being grown and tired and finally smart enough to protect what matters. So I'm going to give you a simple system. 3 locks. Easy to remember. First lock is your mouth, what you share. You don't have to tell people what you get, what you have, what the doctor said, or what your kids are doing. You can smile and keep it short because long answers invite long problems. Second lock is your ears, what you listen to. You don't have to sit there while someone dumps gossip or tries to pull you into a fight or turns every talk into a complaint. Your ears are a door too. You can close that door by changing the subject or by walking away, and that is allowed. Third lock is your calendar, what you agree to. Look at that fridge calendar. Doctor visits marked, little notes you wrote to keep your life straight. That calendar is your life. If someone wants to spend your time, they need your yes, and you can say no without a big speech. Now let's make it real, because real is the only thing that helps. You're on the couch or in your recliner, remote in your hand, and the TV is getting loud. You can turn the noise down or turn it off, and you can choose quiet. Quiet isn't empty. Quiet is where your body can breathe again. And your phone, put it on the counter sometimes. You do not have to answer every buzz, every ring, every hey. You got a second message. If it's important, it'll still be important in 10 minutes. Your heart does not need to jump every time a screen lights up. Sometimes a neighbor knocks, or calls, or catches you outside, and they want something. A ride, a favor, a long talk that turns into drama, and you're standing there thinking, I don't have it in me today. You can say, not today, and keep your tone calm. You can say, I can't, and still be a good person. If you need a few one-line phrases to keep in your pocket, keep them boring, because boring ends things fast. I keep that private. Works? I'm not getting into that. Works? I've got it handled. Works? I'm focusing on my health right now. Works? You don't have to sound tough. You just have to be steady. And I'm not going to pretend it's always easy. Some nights the house feels too quiet, and you feel that lonely truth sitting next to you like a shadow. You warm up leftovers, or you make a cup of tea, and you settle in, and you wish someone would call just to talk normal. That's real too, and I'm not ashamed to say it out loud. So here's the thing. Protecting your peace does not mean cutting everyone off. It means choosing the right people and choosing the right moments. It means you stop giving your best energy to the loudest people, and you start giving it to the kind ones and to yourself. Tonight, do one small thing, just one. Turn off one noisy thing, the TV, the news, or the group text, and let your head get quiet. Then call one good person, a friend, a brother, a sister, a kid, somebody who doesn't make you feel small, and just say hello. You don't need a deep talk. You just need a human voice that feels safe. Lock your door, check the deadbolt, leave the porch light on, and remember this. A peaceful life is not an accident. It's a choice you make over and over, and you're allowed to choose it without guilt.